So we're going to start the next session, chaired by Arnold Pompos from UT Southwestern, Dallas, and Sandro Rossi from CNAU.
Excellent, great, thank you very much. It looks like you guys are still here, so that's awesome. Let's do the session here, and the first speaker is Dr. Hoppe from Mayo. It's a super privilege to us. When I get to my talk, you will see my tears. But Dr. Hoppe, the chair is yours. I mean, the microphone is yours. He'll be talking about Jacksonville, Mayo, effort of proton and carbon ion therapy.
You start. Sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry.
Well, it's such a privilege to be here. I really appreciate the invitation. Mayo Clinic, we don't quite have carbon ion therapy yet, but I really appreciate how embracing the particle therapy community has been with us. So I'm going to be talking about Mayo Clinic Florida's Particle Therapy Center, future-proofed for tomorrow. So our story begins in June 2019 when Mayo Clinic announced that it was going to be building a proton therapy center in Jacksonville, Florida. Mayo Clinic is made up of 3 different campuses, Rochester, Minnesota, Arizona, and Florida, and has a rich history of being involved in particle therapy. The Mayo Clinic Rochester Center opened in 2015 for proton therapy and has been extremely successful. We have Anita Mahajan, who's the proton director there, and they've treated almost 10,000 patients over that period of time. The center in Arizona opened up about a year later and has treated about 5,000 patients. And so it made sense that they would bring proton therapy to the 3rd campus here in Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville's an interesting place for particle therapy. Jacksonville is located in the northeastern part of Florida, right on the coast, just south of Georgia. And it's actually the largest city within the 48 connected states. It's 2,300 kilometers squared. It's the 10th largest city, about 1 million people, and then another 1 million people in the surrounding areas. And it is home to 2 other proton centers. So here you can see there's a private center down here. That's a Mevion site. We have an IBA site at University of Florida in the downtown Jacksonville, which is where I was at the time of this announcement. And then Mayo Clinic is located here near the coast. And so with that announcement of proton therapy, that brought me from University of Florida over to Mayo Clinic. Now within just a couple months, as I required in part of my contract, I wanted carbon. And so they got that for me. No, that is not the reason why. Carbon ion therapy came about during the negotiations for the particle therapy center that was being built. And so this was announced just a few months later. Now the history of heavy particle therapy in the recent times is shown here. In 1993, the Berkeley Lab Bevilac facility closed. It had been open for over 20 years, but it closed because of high operational costs as well as aging infrastructure. To try to re-stimulate interest in heavy particles in the United States, the NCI awarded planning grants for heavy particle centers to UT Southwestern and UCSF about 20 years later in 2015. But in 2019, this is when Mayo Clinic announced their partnership with Hitachi to bring carbon ion therapy back to Florida. And our groundbreaking in Florida occurred in 2022, and our plan is to have carbon ion therapy ready in 2028. So I think one of the questions is, why has it been so long without particle therapy or heavy particles in the United States? I think because when centers have dreamed of getting carbon ion therapy, they've kind of dreamed of this, of having all the bells and whistles, as we say in the United States. You know, you want a hybrid accelerator that can do all these different particles. You want access to all those different particles. You want MRI-guided proton therapy gantries. You want MRI-guided carbon gantries. You want to have an experimental fixed beam room for cell culture, for small animals, and hey, maybe also for large animals too. You want it flash ready. And so you have this huge facility in mind that's going to cost a lot of money. But in the United States, we don't have or haven't had governmental support for a carbon ion therapy center yet. There's been problems and bankruptcies for some of the larger proton centers in the past. And there's been really concerns about uncertainties with reimbursement for carbon ion therapy. And that's because there's a lot of approvals that need to happen. We need to get FDA approval of carbon ion therapy. We need to get CPT code developed. And we need to get the payers to reimburse. And none of that has been possible as of yet without having a functioning carbon center. So I think there's been a lot of uncertainty and concern about taking those steps forward. So why was Mayo Clinic Florida successful? Well, Mayo Clinic Florida had already secured money for a proton therapy expansion, and we were able to fit carbon ion therapy within the budget. And we were able to do that by having kind of the bare bones carbon system. One fixed beam room that can treat both proton and carbon ion therapy. So we did not get any of the bells and whistles. Our business plan is not based on carbon ion therapy, it's based on proton therapy for 2 gantry rooms. And we heavily invested in the beam delivery so that we could have fast throughput and be able to treat a lot of patients. And finally, the big thing is that we future-proofed the center with possible phased expansions. And so the beamline can expand to include up to 2 carbon gantries, or if interested, a Leo chair, or even MRI guidance. So this is the blueprints for our facility. We have our proton and carbon injectors located here, and we could actually add a 3rd ion over here. We have our hybrid synchrotron that will accelerate both protons and carbon down the beam line, and protons can go into the 2 proton gantry rooms, and both proton and carbon can go into the fixed beam room at the end. We also have 3 linear accelerators right here for photon treatment. This includes 2 true beams, and then we actually are going to have the GRACE system, which is the Leo upright system for photon therapy. As was kind of discussed earlier, the upright solution we think may be a really nice opportunity for future growth without putting in quite as much money as a carbon gantry. And so for us to get some experience and feel comfortable with this upright positioning, we're going to be doing this with the GRACE system. And this is how the beamline can expand to add in additional rooms if we can get the funding to support that. So these are some of the specifications for our carbon room. We have a dose rate of about 4 gray per minute. We have a field size of 30 by 40, scan speed of 40 by 120, field room switching time of less than 20 seconds, and ion switching time of about 20 seconds. Energy change time of less than 250 milliseconds, a range of 2 to 30 centimeters, and a spot size of 1.5 to 2.5 millimeters. This is what the facility will be looking like. And again, the clinical center, which is in front, is also future-proofed in that it's going to be 3 stories to begin with, but it can grow up to 12 stories. It's about 225,000 square feet currently, and the project was about $230 million. Construction will be complete in 2025, and we'll actually be moving here in about 3 months. We went over most of the equipment that we'll have. We also have 2 CT simulators and an MR simulator. We have animal holding facility and cell processing microscope and bench space as well. This is a picture back in 2022 when we had been doing the groundbreaking. So you can see we're on the coast. You can see the Atlantic Ocean way out here. This is our medical oncology outpatient area, and then this is the area where the carbon center is being built. Now, what type of indications are we thinking about treating with carbon ion therapy in the United States? Well, we've kind of built this pyramid, have things broken down to different groups. So first off, we anticipate being the only carbon center in the United States that will be treating the most common indications, which are those that we can actually find in the NCCN guidelines, including unresectable bone tumors and adenoid cystic carcinomas. We think this should be reasonably easy for us to get reimbursement for. We are also really interested in looking at other high-priority radiation-resistant tumor types, including soft tissue sarcomas, pancreatic cancers, liver, and kidney. Where we think we can have a dramatic impact in the need for carbon ion therapy in the United States, though, is with this group 3 indication. And I mentioned this yesterday to several people. We're really interested in identifying those radiation-resistant subgroups of more common cancers, like non-small cell lung cancer subgroups, the HPV-negative head and neck cancers, prostate cancers. So this, we think, is really going to spearhead a need for more carbon ion therapy centers in the U.S. And then obviously we're also very intrigued by the group 4 indications, which would be the sort of the immune activation and abscopal effects that we might see in patients with metastatic disease. Now, with a single fixed beam room that just has a single horizontal beam line, we don't even have a vertical one, we don't think we'll be able to treat too many patients, so we're kind of anticipating about 225 patients a year. With expansion of 2 carbon gantries, we could potentially get an additional 600 patients per room. That could get us to about 1,500 patients a year. These are wishes. Right now, all we have in stone is this smaller sample of 225. We have done other things to try to reduce costs. So our physics team has been working with COSY Lab to develop our own treatment planning system as a cheaper alternative, but not to compromise any quality. It's designed for all particles. It'll have novel radiobiologic methods and tight integration with our Hitachi treatment machine and fast and intuitive workflow. We'll be starting with photon treatments with this in about 3 months. And it will also have advanced real-time adaptive radiation therapy. So we're really excited about this that has grown out of this project. This is our executive leadership team in Florida. Our chair, Dr. Vallo, is really worked very hard for us to get as many opportunities and funding opportunities within Mayo Clinic to help support the project. Dr. Thielen, who's the CEO of the Florida campus, is a radiologist, and I think that was really important as we pivoted from proton therapy to carbon, because he thought this was really awesome, and he's come on some of the tours with us to some of the carbon centers. So that was really great. We have 4 different particle therapy directors. I'm the medical director that's overseeing the clinical side of things and clinical research. We have Dr. Kim, who's our research director. Dr. Michael Story, as many of you know, our radiobiology director, and Chris Beltran, who's our particle therapy technical director. We all have research space that we're working in, but we don't have carbon ion therapy, so we have been going out to the different carbon centers to get help. I have this clinical trial that has been ongoing for the last couple of years. It's a prospective study that's comparing carbon ion therapy with surgery and proton therapy for patients with unresectable pelvic bone sarcomas. This has been successful because of our carbon partners. We have Caen, MedAustron, Heidelberg, and QST hospitals that are all enrolling patients into this trial. And we have collaborations with a number of other centers. Michael Story's been working a lot with Caen. Sungjun Kim has a new shared lab in Taipei that allows us access to the beam. And we've done a lot of work with MedAustron through work with Dr. Beltran. This is what our center will be looking like in just a few months when we move in. This is what it looked like 3 months ago. So I appreciate everyone's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hoppe. Time for one question. Over there, Mario.
A very urgent question for you. Congratulations, because are you looking for a senior mental assistant?
We'll have to take that up with Dr.
Please
Beltran.
do it. Please do it. I give you Mario. Okay. Thank you very much. Now we move to the next speaker. That is Professor Arnold Pompos from UT Southwestern in Dallas. Please, Arnold, 15 minutes.
Thank you very much. This is a super, super big honor. So Dr. Hadron, this is the dream to come through, to come here. A little bit of tears, and you'll see why in a second. Gabriel, thanks a lot for invitation. This is UT Southwestern. Here's a disclaimer. I'm a physicist. And second disclaimer is more important. I'm a human. Because AI is often contributed to Arnold intelligence and so on, artificial intelligence. So I really don't need to tell you guys that this is a free conflict of interest, no care. This is where we are. So I just wanted to tell you guys that we are really neighbors. So we are very close. That's UT Southwestern, that's Caen. So we're good. Here's a little spoiler that I wanted to tell you that I'm sorry, I don't have a carbon ion beam, but I really, really, really worked hard, to get it. So in 2015, the National Cancer Institute gave us money to plan out the research component of the Hadron Ion Therapy Center. And we did pretty good, so that we got the money and we planned it out. Then in addition, Texas gave us twice as money to plan out the big guy, not just the research component. We took the money and we planned it out. And we delivered the complete planning of the facility, and this is where we ended up. And I spent a little bit time on this one here because this was our dream. So we still have a dream. This was a synchrotron there. And I would like to point out that the, where's the pointer? So this is a synchrotron there, right? Now, point is here that this is for people who are going to build their own center. We placed in multiple ion sources there because we wanted to do future LET painting and multiple ions irradiations. Next is, here's a beam line. It's a horizontal beam line. We put there a in-room imaging that will enable us to do some sexy stuff. And then this one here is a gantry. So we placed there a gantry, and there are multiple options here, gantry, no gantry. So you guys heard quite a few things about it, but important, the message here is that these are important items always to think about and to make a decision ahead of the time with the thinking of where does the future bring me and not where the technology is actually today, right now. Okay, so here's my tears. We got all the planning money, but we got no construction money. So we only do the talk while Mayo does the job. So Dr. Hoppe, congratulations, you got it. I'm still on my road to get there. Well, then, in part of the cry, we also keep publishing. We said here why we really want, the Hadron Ion Therapy Center in the United States. So here's a publication, you guys can read about it. Now, the challenges in the United States are size matters. Even if you're in Texas, size really matters, not because you don't have the land, but because everybody wants to build something in Texas. So if you enter Texas, the first thing is they will ask you, where's the concrete? I need concrete. And well, I mean, my building also needs a lot of concrete. And the message here is that in 2017, I opened a clinic, 7-volt clinic, 70,000 square feet. In your units, it's about, 700 or so, 7,000 square meters, more than 7,000 square meters for $50 million. 2021, a copy of that building, it costed $70 million. And now in 2025, identical copy of the building that I'm building right now, $150 million. Just the building, guys. Now this is like staggering and this is like mind-boggling and nobody can explain this, but that's a fact. So we always ask, hey, what's your size? And then that drives a lot of things. And I'm not kidding. This is one of the biggest, most single hurdling identity, in building something. Okay, next is you know, like where do you get the money from, right? So the research people say, yeah, give me a machine and I'll do research, right? The government says, well, I cannot build it for you. You know, you will get rich, you know, on my money, so there's no way that I'm gonna give you money. You will be making a lot of money on this. The private sector says, yes, I will build it for you, but you gotta pay me back, man. So now this is a circle. We don't know where to go from here. Mayo Clinic succeeded. Where to go from here? We're still learning. Okay, so now we designed it, and then, you know, like we needed to work on the show me the data, and we generated this CIFR protocol. CIFR protocol was about randomization between photon and carbon ion therapy. And you know, our Japanese colleagues are always asking, like, you're crazy, why are you talking about randomization? I know it's better. Why do you need to randomize, you know, like when you have jumping out of the airplane with or without a parachute? There is no need for randomization trial. So we understand it, we understood it, but we don't quite, you know, get it, because we said Western world is not gonna work this way. So we worked a lot of diplomacy, you know, left and right, you know, many sakes, many visits, many dinners. And at some point we got the ultimate decision maker. We fight it over. Okay, so on the left, why is it going so? So on the left-hand side, that's me. On the right-hand side, you know, that's the Japanese folks, you know, not want to do randomization. But at the end, you know, we did it. So we got a handshake, and the CIFR protocol was born. What is it? CIFR protocol was photon irradiation of unresectable pancreatic cancer, locally advanced, plus chemotherapy, versus Hadron therapy, which is carbon ion therapy, plus chemotherapy. And so that was the definition of it. And then we got these participating institutions in it, which was NIRS in Japan, GUNMA, CNAO in Italy, IO in Italy, UT Southwestern. I'll have in a second, you know, an acknowledgement, but this is very, very important that we actually activated the patient. I mean, we activated the trial. The overall survival was the goal, because our Japanese colleagues, you know, they published on the unresectable locally advanced pancreatic cancer. Okay, 2 years overall survival, not 25% or so as the photon plus chemotherapy is, but they were in the vicinity of 60%. So we designed a CIFR protocol for showing 40%, which would be technically doubling it. That means, you know, we only needed like 103 patients to be randomized 2-to-1 carbon ion to photons, and that was like low number of patients for being a phase 3, because we wanted to show quite a large gap. Okay, so it's easy to say, super difficult to do. Why? Because you need to secure funding, you need to do credentialing of the sites, you need to run through the Interinstitutional Review Board, IRB, you need to do carbon-12 modeling in 3 continents, then you need to do the randomization, eligibility review, travel to the centers, lodging, insurance, information transfer, and storage, contour reviews, because, you know, the medical doctors in Japan, they really, really wanted to know that we're doing the right thing, because they really, really did not want to screw up the 60%, you know, that data. So we better show them, you know, like, look, this is the contours that we think, you know, the duodenum is, this is the contours where we think that the actual tumor is, and vice versa. The European people wanted to see, you know, how the Japanese people actually contoured. So this was like all worked out, that you know, one contours, the other one reviews, the other one contours, the first one reviews, and only then it's a go. Same for the imaging. So then finally the dose distribution as well. We needed to make the transfer of the language. When a European people generate a dose distribution in the LEM model, if I show it to the Japanese guys, they say, what are you showing me? I don't understand what you're showing me. So then we needed to generate a translator. Research was the translator. I'm sorry they're not here, so we cannot milk them for money. So this is a free advertisement. So we generated give me a physical dose distribution. I'll show you what is it that the European person will see, and what is it that the Japanese person will see. And once they agree on these dose distributions based on the physical dose distribution, then it's a go. So this was all settled. This was all settled. This was all set. Biological sample collection with Mike Story was also included, and then the annual dose output constancy check was also included. So in other words, if you guys see anything missing on this list, please come to me and I resign. because we think, that we made a really comprehensive thing and we went through this, and spoiler alert, we did it. So it's all green, everything has been delivered. So yep, that's how we did it. We did it. And then I wanted to stop on this one because look at the yellow names. These yellow names that are part of the CIRT protocol are in this room. So these people are here, guys. So this is like, it looks like it's real, okay? So Arnold is the speaker. Dr. Yamada, is the speaker sitting here. He's a Superman in pancreatic cancer. He used to be a surgeon, so he really knows what he's talking about when he's putting in radiation. Dr. Inaniva, was instrumental in the MKM versus LEM. Then Dr. Ono, he opened it in Gunma University, highly non-trivial because he also has photons. He's got carbon ion, so it's a dream place for him to for me to be part of him in the randomization. Dr. Piero Fossati is here. At that time, he was in CNAO. Then, he migrated, but he still exists, and brain is existing, so that's awesome. Mario Ciocca is here, physicist, no, Mario Ciocca is not here. Okay, he says, no, I'm not here. But anyway, and then Dr. Esterolandi is here also. So guys, this is dream. I mean, you guys, this is an awesome conference because it matches CIRT. Okay, then comes coronavirus. COVID shut down everything. This was in 2020. That basically ended our dream. Now, COVID is gone. Well, why is this going along? Can I stop this? Okay, anyway. So COVID is gone. We renewed our quest to build a Hadrontherapy center. That's current situation here. Now, in the meantime, what happened in photons? In photons, this is what happened. The patient, have a friendly discussion with the medical doctor. What, you are treating me with the plan that you generated a week ago? That's nonsense. I am now on the table. Do something. Are you sure that my bowel is there where it was a week ago? Are you sure? What did you do to my tumor? Is it half dead, after some irradiation? So all good questions, from the medical doctor, for the medical doctor, from the patient. You see friendly patient discussion there in Texas. And then, this is only the beginning of it because the patient, the medical doctor is actually telling the patient, and by the way, if you went through CIRT protocol, I would have an overall survival of, let's say, 45 to 60% of you. So what does that mean? Like 60% of me, 60% of me will survive and 60% will not? No. What I meant is like if there's 100 of you, 60%, 60 would make it and 40 will not make it. Okay, I'm sorry, I still don't get it. So am I in the 60 or am I in the 40? So a medical doctor has no answer, right? This is it, it's a probability. It's like these are clinical trials, how they've been conducted. Well, this doesn't really go well, with the discussion with the patients again, because he says why are you doing this one size fits all to me? I am just one. I am your patient. I am not one of the 100. So we need to resolve this. Okay, so we got this. We have this initiation of ending the course of radiation therapy, not ending radiation therapy, but the course. We want to do ultra-personalization. What does ultra-personalization mean? Ultra-personalization means that you identify features that have prognostic value. You set your target values for these features. Then you identify variables that are actually influencing these features. Then you give a high kick to the tumor. You, let's say, give it 8 gray. The tumor will feel 8 gray, period. No matter where the target is, 8 gray is non-trivial. And then you wait. You let the biology kick in. You let the immune system do its job. You wait. And once it's time, then you give another kick. And then you repeat this cycle until you reach your target value. So this is ultra-personalization. The point here is this is novel. This is normally not happening because normally you put an SBRT dose, 2 days later you put another one. So what we're doing here is not that. What we're doing here is we're giving biology a chance to actually work on itself and helping the biology to do its job with the next kick. Easy to say, difficult to do. We need to collect lots of data. So now this is something, again, novel. We're producing here something which is called SMART trials. SMART trials means that as you go through your treatment, you change the course. You do many randomizations as the things are happening. You change the course. You see, for example, you start with 10 gray or 5 gray, and then, or let's say you start with 8 gray and 1 chemo agent versus 5 gray chemo plus immuno. Okay, there's an equipoise. Then you deliver, then you see that things are reacting, functionally reacting, geometrically reacting, and then you change the course. If you see that you're in the right direction, then you continue. If you don't see that you're in the right direction, you change the course and you make changes. This is super easy to say, difficult to do, because you need a lot of data to do this. This is called smart trials. Well, that's why we just opened a veterinary and research oncology center. This is where we're going to treat dogs and cats. It's done, that's the clinic. We put in an online adaptive machine, a Versa machine there, and it's treating patients now. The idea is you collect lots of data on the animals, you collect some data on the human, and AI, not artificial intelligence, will make the bridge. So we learn from the animals, we put it to the humans. What we learn from humans, we put it to the animals. So that's the trick, and that's what's happening right now at UT Southwestern. And then online adaptive is the tool to actually make this happen. Online adaptations, you know what to do, but I just wanted to say that we have technology to do Cone-beam CT-based online adaptation machines. We have CT-based online adaptive machines. We have MR-based online adaptive machines, and we have PET-based online adaptive machines. So we are exploring every corner, of what can be done and what cannot be done. These are our machines here. And then during delivery, very, very important is to know where the tumor is when the beam is on. So we have systems, that are watching the tumor with the markers like a triggered imaging. We have systems that watching where the tumor is with an MR. This is the MR Linac, for example. That's a movie which actually shows you when a gas bubble goes through and completely displaces. Maybe it's fun to show you. Well, we don't have time. So where the gas bubble completely displaces the prostate, so it's completely getting out of the field. If you don't know about it, you just keep irradiating. This is a PET Linac that has a PET tracer, and it's a tracking device which tracks based on the PET signal where the tumor is, and then you deliver the dose exactly there. In other words, it's not a gating system, it's a tracking system. Okay, so now I just go towards the end here. Is this all realistic? The answer is absolutely. Why? Because look, we're not living in a big bang. We're not living in a big freeze. We're living today. This was yesterday. So thank you very much for the awesome dinner. Now, at UT Southwestern, we've already achieved that 25% of all patients are online adaptive patients. We've treated more than 10,000 online adaptive sessions. So we think it makes sense. And here I had a few slides about AI-driven radiation oncology that we do today. So pediatric patients, we put them on the table. They want to go off the table. So what do we do at UT Southwestern? We hypnotize them. Hypnotize them with what? If they were like me, with a movie. So we show them in a movie. They open their mouth, they don't move. Well, that would be just like ordinary nothing. But why is it sexy? Why is it sexy? It's sexy because AI watches the patient's face, and AI predicts when the patient is going to make a move, and then it stops the beam prior to that. So that's where the sexy part in AI is. So then we put in a first AI-driven clinical trial, where it's a head and neck trial, where only involved nodes are predicted by AI that are actually being irradiated. So AI picks for us the nodes, and I'm done. So AI picks for us the nodes, and only that is irradiated. Clinical trials has been published. Astro had an early abstract on this one. And then clinical trial matching, medical doctors goes in, and then talks to the patient, leaves. We got to the chart round, and then says, hey, did you offer this trial to the patient? Oh, damn, I forgot. Well, not anymore. Before the medical doctor goes in, AI tells him, hey, don't forget to remind the patient about this and this trial. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. These are my conclusions. The conclusions are that photon world is really, really, really far. The Hadron world really, really has some things to catch up, and that is going to be an issue in my clinic. We put in Hadrons. I need to make sure that the system that we put in, my medical doctors will not dismiss immediately and say, what are you talking about? This is like 1960. So, I have so many options, that I can use on my patients. You better make sure, that I get really, really out of this Hadron therapy what you're actually promising. So that's my conclusion, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Arnold. We move to the last speech of this session, Virgile Letellier, that is going to present the project in Caen. Thank you.
And while they're bringing this up, I just have a comment here that if you guys don't mind, we'll do the round table, and then we'll do the coffee. So round table will like only 10, 15 minutes. Okay, I don't see rotten tomatoes flying here, so all agreement, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about this. So I'm not me against the coffee, so you will have to wait a bit more. Okay, so I will do a presentation of what is the technical status of the C400 machine and the carbon machine, which is under installation in Caen. So let's just do a quick reminder, because sometimes it's not always very clear, especially for people which are not in Caen. So CYCLHAD, the center you will visit this afternoon, this is a host of the clinical machine and research machine. And NHA is the company which is doing the installation in Caen, and also finalizing the design and marketing it for next customer. IBA is supporting us, and is DNA of the machine is coming from IBA, and is supporting us on the development and also on the marketing of this system. So, just a situation of Hadrontherapy currently. We have about 100 proton centers in the world and 16 ion centers. So Caen will be the next. And so maybe I will be quick on this, because Tumor already presented a lot. Just to give you a summary, then in Hadrontherapy, and especially in carbon ions, we have, let's say, two big pillars, which are the ballistic advantage and the biological advantage. And of course, for the ballistic advantage, we have very good penumbras with carbon ions. We have a very thin Bragg peak, and like Marcus also showed before, we have this very small spot size and stay very, very focused also inside the patient, which is a very good ballistic advantage. And for biology, also again, this was also very well presented today, we have very good effect on radioresistant cells. We have this very high LET and very good RBE situation, and it's very interesting. And also, as we discussed, we have a promising situation with combining carbon ions with immunotherapy, and this apoptosis effect. So this was just to give you a summary of what you have seen already these last 2 days. So now back on the C400. So at the time when the project was built, there was this idea of making Hadrontherapy cheaper and easier. So that's why it was decided to go to cyclotron. Cyclotron exists already since quite some years in the proton world, but this was not existing in the carbon world and heavy ions. So this was the main strategy, to go to cyclotron, because we have a lot of advantages. We have a continuous beam, we have a very compact system and very compact building. As like Arnold said, this is also quite important now to be able to shrink the size of the building. And also we have a quite simple system. It's much easier to maintain, and we need much less people to maintain it and teams on site. And also what is quite interesting now, it's flash and very high dose rate carbon ion. This machine will be quite interesting for high dose rate. So now if we speak about size and compactness, when we compare to synchrotron of the same energy, this is for example a picture of Medostron, but we can imagine that Hitachi and Siemens are nearly the same size. So we have a factor 3 to 4 between these two centers. So when you overlap, you clearly see the difference, like the C400 system with the building can really nearly go inside the vault of a synchrotron system. So it's quite compact. We estimate it between 41 to 45 meters in terms of size of the building for 2 rooms, fixed beam lines. So this is a a layout of Caen, so for the people who will be able to visit this afternoon. So the source is above the cyclotron, and you have the cyclotron and the energy selection system, and then you have 2 treatment rooms, and also, which is not visible here on the drawing, you have a 3rd room which is for physics and research. And this is also what is specific about Caen. This center was already built with a Proton machine. So in 2018, the machine was finalized and for treatment, and this is a Proteus 1 machine from IBA, which is already inside the building. And right behind, there's a carbon system for the C400 with, as I said, the 2 rooms and the 3rd rooms for physics research. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the C400. And if you have any question, you can go to people here on the room which are even more expert than me about cyclotron. There's Yves here from IBA, there's people from NHA, so please, if you have any question, ask them. I think it's a great opportunity. But basically this cyclotron is a 7-meter cyclotron, supraconductive. So we have a cryogenic coil about 4.5 Tesla in helium bath. And the design is made with 3 sources. So currently in Caen, it's helium, carbon, and proton. But it's also a possibility to put oxygen, for example. And so as we have a proton in this machine, we have 2 extraction lines, one for 265 MeV, and a second extraction line for ions, which is 400 MeV per nucleons. So as I said, for the moment, in Caen, it's only fixed beam lines. So this will be the type of room we will have. This is a picture of Chennai in India, but our design is nearly a copy-paste of this. So it will be a room with horizontal fixed beamline PBS, and it will be a possibility. There is a 6-axis robot system from Leoni, and we have the possibility to put either a couch or to put a chair. So the chair is under. I will have a slide after development also. And of course, we have a PPFS system, alignment lasers, nozzle, rich filter, ripple filter, the same as other carbon center, and movable accessories also. And also we have this design of fast switching. It's a possibility to switch quickly between ions to ions in these rooms. This is a characteristic of the beam in the treatment room. So what I can say is we will have a maximum field size of 30 for protons, 20 for carbon ions. Spot size about 3 to 4 millimeter, 1 sigma in carbon ions. And for clinics, for the moment, it's defined as a dose rate of 2 gray per minute. Oh, also, something I can also say. What is a bit specific our system, it's we enlarge the pitch roll and all the rotations about the couch to 15 degrees, which is not so common. In Japanese, a bit more, but not so common in Proton world. So these are 2 systems, so like I could say, we can put either the couch or a chair. So the chair is under development with Bisling company. So it will be a chair only for head and neck in the room of Caen because there's no vertical CT. So it will be a head and neck with overlay for ORFIT. And there will be a possibility to treat 360 degree of this chair. So possibly see some development for ARC in the future. So just to give a status of the project now. So it was started quite some time ago, and now we are here. Oh, sorry, here. And so we are finalizing the installation. Here's to give you the last status from this summer. It's the cryogenic coil, which was on the test for validation, and we will receive very soon. And we expect to have beam in 2026. And just a reminder, so in 2026 there will be IPAC and PTCOG at Caen. So it will be also a great opportunity to show you more the status of this machine and hopefully to have a great beam to show you at the time. So just to give you some pictures, especially for people which will not be able to come this afternoon. So this was the manufacturing pictures of the lower core of the machine. Also some picture of the supraconductive coil, which is under design in Sigma Phi in Van. So this was to show you some installation and when they did the manufacturing of the coil and testing. And last year we started the rigging of the machine. So this was, for example, the helium tanks, because we have a helium cooling system, and helium is very expensive. It's a discussion we had yesterday. So we wanted to avoid any loss of helium in case of a quench effect. So this is why we have these big tanks below the cyclotron. It's just insurance, let's say, to do not lose helium. And this was the installation of the lower core of the cyclotron. Also installation of the beamline, so we started also this. And I wanted to do my last pictures about, let's say, what is also interesting in this project. We have also a great communication with IBA dosimetry. So we know already we will have a great compatibility for QA and commissioning with a lot of devices from IBA. And for example, these are the Phoenix, I forgot the Matrix, and the small water phantom are already compatible with carbon ions. And they're already starting to work on a new version for the Zebra and the Giraffe also, to make it compatible with carbon ions. And hopefully this will be ready when we will have beam in Caen. Also we have already compatibility with Mosaic and Restation for TPS and OAS. We know it's because our system is based on the IBA workflow and medical system. We know it will be also compatible with Varian ARIA and Restation. And for TPS, we also started some discussion with Electa, with Monaco. So what about perspective and challenges? So we know already that this machine is compatible with some interesting future. We know it's already compatible with helium, of course, but also with 3D imaging for later on adaptative. We know also we will have carbon flash research for small volume, 2x2x2 with a bragg peak. And what are the next steps? Let's say what is in purple here is the next evolution we need to work on. It's conformal flash, of course, for clinics. We have discussion about helium imaging, ARC or gantry-based system, and new ions like oxygens. So, as a conclusion, okay, doesn't go. Sorry. As a conclusion, I just wanted to say, so the C400 machine, which is under installation in Caen, this is the first machine of its kind. This is the first heavy ion cyclotron in the world. So it's a great opportunity for Caen and also for research. We will be able to join this system to have a great center with a new machine, great perspective for clinics, for research also, for physics, for radiobiology, for flash. So it will be a great machine for clinics and research. It's a first, and yeah, so we expect to have first beam into 26, and we hope to see you at PTCOG and IPAC. Thank you.
Thank you very much.